My mother-in-law tore my $4,000 dress to shreds. She called my wedding tacky, my choices weak. My fiancé agreed with her, siding against me. Then I walked out on my own wedding. I'm Emily, a 28-year-old graphic designer from Seattle, Washington. My life was on track, or so I thought. I was engaged to Jack, my boyfriend of 4 years, a kind-hearted software engineer who made me laugh until my sides hurt. We planned our dream wedding for next spring at a venue overlooking Lake Union. Everything felt perfect until I met Linda, Jack's mother, at a dinner that turned my world upside down. It was a chilly evening at Pike Place Market. Jack had booked a table at a cozy seafood restaurant, one of those places with dim lights and waiters who know the menu like a script. I wore my favorite navy dress, hoping to make a good impression. Linda walked in, her heels clicking on the wooden floor, her eyes scanning me like I was a project to fix. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Over appetizers, she commented on my choice of salmon, saying, "Oh, I'd have gone for the halibut. It's more refined." I brushed it off, thinking she was just being opinionated. As the night went on, Linda's remarks grew sharper. She asked about my job, then cut me off mid-sentence to say, "Graphic design? That's cute, but Jack needs someone who matches his ambition." My fork froze halfway to my mouth. Jack chuckled, squeezing my hand under the table, whispering, "She's just protective." I nodded, but my stomach twisted. Protective or not, her words stung like salt on a cut. Dinner ended, and Linda insisted on joining us for dessert. She ordered for the table, ignoring my suggestion of cheesecake. "Tiramisu is more sophisticated," she said, her voice dripping with authority. I bit my tongue, not wanting to start a fight in front of Jack. But then she brought up the wedding. "Emily, have you picked your dress yet? I'd love to see it. I know a thing or two about style." Her tone was sweet, but it felt like a challenge. I smiled, saying, "It's a surprise, even for Jack." She raised an eyebrow, leaning closer. "Oh, come on, I could help. I've got an eye for these things." I politely declined, explaining I wanted to keep it special. Linda's face tightened, and she turned to Jack. "Your fiancé's secretive, isn't she?" Jack laughed it off, but I saw the glint in her eyes like she was testing me. I changed the subject, asking about her hobbies, hoping to ease the tension. She talked about her book club, her charity events, but every sentence circled back to Jack, her perfect boy, who deserved the best. As we left the restaurant, Linda pulled me aside, her grip firm on my arm. "Emily, I just want what's best for my son. You understand, right?" Her smile was cold, and I felt a chill that wasn't from the Seattle breeze. I nodded, but my gut screamed that this was only the beginning. Jack drove me home, oblivious to the storm brewing. I stared out the window, the city lights blurring, wondering if I was overreacting or if Linda was already drawing battle lines. I stood in the fitting room of a boutique in Bellevue, my heart racing as I slipped into my wedding dress. It was a $4,000 masterpiece ivory lace, a flowing train, tailored to hug my frame perfectly. I'd spent months working with a seamstress to get every detail right for our spring wedding at Lake Union. The mirror reflected a version of me I barely recognized, glowing with hope. I snapped a photo to send to my best friend, Sarah, when my phone buzzed. It was Jack, saying his mom, Linda, was stopping by our Capitol Hill apartment to chat about wedding plans. My stomach sank. I wasn't ready for another round with her. I got home, the dress carefully packed in its garment bag, hung in my bedroom closet. Linda was already there, sipping coffee on my couch like she owned the place. Jack was at work, so it was just us. "Emily, let's see that dress," she said, her eyes glinting with something I couldn't place. I hesitated, remembering her comments at Pike Place. "It's still being adjusted," I lied, hoping to dodge her. She waved a hand, standing up. "Nonsense. I just want a peek. I know what looks good on a bride." Before I could stop her, she marched to the bedroom. My protests echoed down the hall, but she didn't listen. "Linda, please, it's private," I said, my voice shaking. She ignored me, unzipping the garment bag. "Oh, this is lovely," she cooed, holding the dress up. Then, to my horror, she slipped off her cardigan and started pulling the dress over her head. "I just want to see how it feels," she said, her voice muffled as she struggled with the fabric. I froze, my heart pounding. Linda was at least 3 sizes larger than me. The dress stretched, the delicate lace straining at the seams. I heard a sickening rip, the side zipper tore, and the sheer back panel split wide open. My vision blurred as I gasped, "Linda, stop!" She turned, the dress half on, her face flushed. "Oh, don't be dramatic," she snapped, stepping out of it. The dress crumpled to the floor, a mangled mess of lace and broken dreams. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. That dress wasn't just fabric, it was months of planning, $4,000 from my savings, and the vision of my perfect day. "What have you done?" I yelled, my voice cracking. Linda shrugged, tossing the dress onto the bed. "It's not my fault you bought something so flimsy. They make these dresses cheap nowadays." I stared, dumbfounded. She didn't apologize, didn't even flinch. "We can fix it," she added, like it was a ripped t-shirt, not my wedding gown. I clutched the doorframe, dizzy, as I calculated the damage. The tailor had a 6-month wait list, and the wedding was 2 months away. I couldn't breathe. Jack got home an hour later, his face paling when he saw the dress. "Mom, what the hell?" he said, his voice low. I explained, tears burning my eyes, how Linda had ignored my pleas and ruined everything. I expected him to back me up, to demand she make it right. Instead, Linda cut in, "Emily's overreacting. It's just a dress. You can get another." Jack looked between us, his jaw tight. "Mom, you need to pay for this," he said, but his tone lacked conviction. Linda crossed her arms. "I'm not paying for a poorly made dress. She should have picked something sturdier." I waited for Jack to push back, to defend me, but he just sighed, rubbing his temples. "Emily, maybe we can work something out," he said, his eyes avoiding mine. My heart sank deeper. Work something out? This was my dream dress, and his mother had destroyed it without a shred of remorse. I stormed to the kitchen, my hands shaking as I gripped the counter. Linda's voice followed, calm and and smug. See, Jack, she's too emotional. You need someone stronger. I wanted to scream, but I swallowed it, knowing this was only the start of her meddling. My wedding, my future with Jack, it all felt like it was slipping through my fingers. The next morning, I woke up with a knot in my stomach. The image of my ruined wedding dress burned into my mind. I couldn't shake the betrayal, Linda's smug dismissal, Jack's weak defense. I needed a new dress, fast, with only 2 months until the wedding at Lake Union. I drove to a bridal shop in Tacoma, hoping to find something that didn't need months of tailoring. The shop was a small, charming place with soft lighting and racks of shimmering gowns. The stylist, a warm woman named Claire, greeted me with a smile. I didn't have the heart to tell her the truth about my last dress, so I mumbled something about a closet mishap and moved on. After hours of trying on dresses, I found one, a $2,000 satin gown with delicate beading that made me feel like myself again. It fit almost perfectly, needing only minor adjustments. I FaceTimed Jack to show him, my heart lifting as he grinned. "You look incredible, Em," he said, his voice soft. But then I saw Linda in the background, leaning over his shoulder, her lips pursed. "It's nice, but it's no match for the first one," she said, loud enough for Claire to hear. My face burned. I hung up, apologizing to Claire, who waved it off with a kind laugh. "I've heard worse from in-laws," she said. Back home, Linda's meddling didn't stop. She texted me suggestions for the wedding flowers, pushing for red roses over my choice of pink peonies. "Peonies are too soft for a wedding," she said at a planning meeting in our Capitol Hill apartment. I clenched my fists under the table, explaining that pink was my favorite color, a nod to my late grandmother. Linda rolled her eyes. "Red symbolizes passion. You want your marriage to last, don't you?" Jack, sitting beside her, nodded slightly. "She's got a point, Em. Red could work." My jaw dropped. Was he serious? I wanted to scream that this was our wedding, not hers, but I swallowed my words, not wanting another fight. The next week, Linda showed up unannounced while Jack and I were finalizing the venue details. Lake Union's sparkling water and modern hall were perfect, but Linda had opinions. "This place is too open. You'll regret it when it rains," she said, ignoring Seattle's unpredictable weather. She suggested a stuffy downtown hotel instead, claiming it was classier. I shot Jack a look, waiting for him to back me up. He shrugged. "Maybe we should consider it, Em. Mom knows what she's talking about." My heart sank. It wasn't just the dress anymore. Linda was worming her way into every decision, and Jack was letting her. I called my best friend Sarah that night, pacing my balcony. "She's taking over, and Jack's not stopping her," I vented, the city lights blurring through my tears. Sarah's voice was firm. "You need to set boundaries, Emily. If Jack won't, you have to." I knew she was right, but when I brought it up to Jack, he got defensive. "She's my mom, Em. She's just excited. Can't you give her a chance?" His words stung. A chance? She'd already crossed every line, and he was blind to it. By the end of the week, I felt like a stranger in my own wedding plans. Linda's suggestions felt like orders, and Jack's reluctance to stand up to her made me question everything. I stared at my new dress, hanging in the closet, wondering if it was even worth it. The wedding was supposed to be our day, but it was starting to feel like Linda's show. My chest tightened as I realized this wasn't just about flowers or venues, it was about whether Jack would ever put me first. The weeks leading up to the wedding felt like a slow-motion train wreck. Linda's shadow loomed over every decision, and Jack's refusal to stand up to her made my heart ache. I was losing control of my own wedding, and the man I loved seemed more loyal to his mother than to me. One evening, we met to finalize the catering at our apartment in Capitol Hill. I'd chosen a local restaurant in Fremont, a place I'd loved since college, known for its hearty Italian dishes. The menu was set lasagna, garlic bread, and tiramisu, comfort food that felt like home. But Linda had other ideas. She showed up uninvited, her purse slung over her shoulder like she was reporting for duty. "Italian? Really, Emily?" she said, flipping through the menu I'd printed out. "It's too casual. You need something upscale, like that steakhouse in downtown Seattle. It screams sophistication." I gripped my coffee mug, my knuckles white. "This is what we want, Linda. It's personal to us," she scoffed, turning to Jack. "Your guests will expect better, honey, don't you think?" Jack hesitated, then nodded. "Maybe we could look at the steakhouse, Em. It might elevate the vibe." My stomach churned. Elevate the vibe? This was our wedding, not a corporate gala. I tried to stay calm, explaining that the Fremont place was affordable and meaningful. Linda cut me off. "Affordable? You get what you pay for. Cheap food, cheap wedding." Her words hit like a slap. I looked at Jack, waiting for him to defend our choice, but he just mumbled, "Let's think about it." I felt my throat tighten, tears prickling my eyes. I excused myself to the kitchen, pretending to refill my coffee, but really, I needed to breathe. Linda's voice carried after me. "She's so sensitive, Jack. You sure about this one?" The next day, we visited the florist to confirm the bouquet. I'd settled on red roses after Linda's insistence, even though I hated them. They felt gaudy, nothing like the soft pink peonies I'd dreamed of. At the shop, Linda tagged along, uninvited again. She pointed at the roses. "Perfect choice. See, Emily, I know what works." I bit my lip, nodding, but inside, I was screaming. Jack smiled at her, like she'd just solved world peace. "Thanks, Mom. You're good at this." I wanted to grab the roses and shred them, but I held it together, my hands shaking as I signed the order. The final straw came a week later, when we reviewed the guest list. I'd spent hours curating it, balancing my family and friends with Jack's. The venue at Lake Union could hold 150 people, and we'd agreed to split it evenly. Linda, however, had other plans. She plopped onto our couch, scanning my laptop screen. "Emily, this list is bloated. You've got too many friends. My side of the family needs more seats, cousins, aunts, important people." My jaw dropped. "Linda, we've already finalized this. It's fair." She waved a hand, dismissing me. "Fair? My family's bigger. Cut your list in half or it'll be a mess." I turned to Jack, my voice steady but firm. "Tell her this isn't happening." He shifted uncomfortably, rubbing the back of his neck. Mom's got a point, Em. Her family's huge. Maybe we can trim a few names. My heart sank to my stomach. Trim my friends? For her cousins I'd never met? I stood up, my chair scraping the floor. This is our wedding, Jack. Ours, not hers. Linda smirked, leaning back. Oh, Emily, don't be selfish. Weddings are about family. I felt like I was drowning, my vision narrowing as her words echoed. That night, I called Sarah again, pacing my balcony under the Seattle stars. She's taking over everything, I said, my voice breaking. And Jack's letting her. I don't know if I can do this. Sarah's voice was sharp. You deserve better, Emily. If he can't stand up to her now, what happens after the wedding? Her words hit hard, planting a seed of doubt. I looked at the engagement ring on my finger. It sparkled, dimmed by the weight of Linda's control. The wedding was 3 weeks away, but it didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt like a stage for Linda to play the star, with Jack as her loyal audience. The morning of my wedding in Kirkland felt like a dream I couldn't wake from. The venue, a sleek hall with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Washington, should have filled me with joy. Instead, my stomach churned with dread. My new 2000 satin gown hung in the dressing room, its beading catching the light, but it wasn't the dress I'd dreamed of. The red roses in my bouquet, forced on me by Linda, mocked my vision of pink peonies. I sat in front of the mirror, my bridesmaids bustling around while my makeup artist, Mia, worked to hide the shadows under my eyes. I hadn't slept well in weeks, haunted by Linda's control and Jack's silence. As Mia blended foundation, the door swung open. Linda strode in, her heels clicking, wearing a creamy off-white dress that looked dangerously close to bridal. My heart stopped. Linda, what are you wearing? I asked, my voice tight. She smiled, smoothing the fabric. It's a family tradition mothers wear cream to their son's wedding. My bridesmaid, Sarah, shot me a look, her eyes wide. I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms. It's too close to my dress. Please change. Linda laughed, sharp and cold. If you've got a problem, talk to Jack. He picked it out with me. I stormed to the groom's suite, my robe flapping, my heart pounding like a drum. Jack was adjusting his tie, looking handsome but distant. Tell your mom to change her dress, I said, my voice shaking. She can't wear that. It's my day. Jack sighed, his shoulders slumping. It's just cream, not white. You're making a big deal out of nothing. My chest tightened, like the air had been sucked out of the room. Nothing. She's stealing my moment and you're letting her. Before he could respond, Linda barged in, her dress gleaming under the lights. Well, Jack, are you going to let her boss me around? She asked, her tone dripping with challenge. I waited, my eyes locked on Jack, begging him to choose me. He rubbed his neck, avoiding my gaze. Let's not fight, okay? It's just a dress. My vision blurred with tears. Just a dress? Like my ruined $4,000 gown was just a dress? I turned and ran back to my suite, my makeup smearing as I fought to hold it together. Sarah followed, rubbing my back. You don't deserve this, Emily, she whispered. I nodded, but my heart was cracking, doubts flooding in. Was this what marriage would be like, always fighting Linda, always second to her? Later, as I touched up my makeup, I overheard voices through the thin walls. Linda's tone was sharp, unmistakable. She's such a crybaby, Jack. Are you sure you want to marry someone so weak? My breath caught. I pressed my ear closer, praying Jack would defend me. Instead, his voice was soft, hesitant. I love her, Mom, but yeah, the dress thing dragged on too long. And this wedding, I just wanted everyone happy. Linda snorted. Real women don't cry over dresses or plan tacky weddings like this. You need someone stronger. My heart shattered as Jack mumbled, maybe you're right. I burst into the room, my hands trembling. Their faces froze like deer in headlights. Jack, I heard everything, I said, my voice breaking. You let her tear me down, and you agree with her? I can't marry someone who won't put me first. Linda smirked, but Jack's eyes widened, panic setting in. Wait, I didn't mean it like that, he stammered, but I was done. I ripped off my veil, tears streaming down my face. This wedding's off, I said, my voice steady despite the pain. I walked out, Linda's smug laugh echoing behind me as my future with Jack crumbled to dust. I stood outside the Kirkland venue, the cool Lake Washington breeze hitting my tear-streaked face. My satin gown felt heavy, like it was mocking me. Inside, the wedding was unraveling, guests whispering, my bridesmaids scrambling to calm the chaos. I'd just told Jack it was over, his mother's laugh still ringing in my ears. Linda's smugness was the final nail, but Jack's betrayal agreeing with her that I was weak shattered me. I couldn't marry someone who let his mother bulldoze our life. Jack ran after me, his tie loose, his face pale. Emily, please, I didn't mean it, he pleaded, grabbing my arm. I'll talk to Mom, I'll fix this. I yanked free, my voice cold. You had months to fix it, Jack. You chose her over me every time. His eyes welled up, but I saw the truth, he'd never put me first. Linda's shadow would always loom. Lose my number, I said, turning away. My heart broke, but I felt a strange relief, like I'd escaped a cage. I moved to Portland a month later, craving a fresh start. My new apartment overlooked the Willamette River, and I threw myself into work, designing logos for local startups. Sarah visited often, her pep talks pulling me out of the darkness. You dodged a bullet, she'd say, handing me coffee. She was right. I started therapy, unpacking the pain of Jack's betrayal and Linda's control. Each session felt like shedding a layer of doubt, rebuilding the Emily I'd lost. Months passed, and Jack's calls faded. I blocked his number, ignoring his texts begging for another chance. I wasn't that woman anymore, the one who'd bend to keep the peace. I joined a hiking group, explored Mount Tabor, and even started painting again, something Linda once called childish. My life was mine now, vibrant and free. So, Ada for canceling my wedding after Linda ruined my dress and Jack took her side? I don't think so, but maybe you see it differently.